These are four of the best ultra camera smartphones that 2024 has to offer. So today we'll be comparing the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, Xiaomi 14 Ultra, and Vivo X100 Ultra in this extremely detailed smartphone camera comparison where we will be comparing day and night photos and videos. The Huawei Pura 70 Ultra is kitted with a 40 megapixel ultra-wide camera, two 50 megapixel sensors for the main and periscope, and a 13 megapixel selfie camera. We'll be using auto aperture and the X-Mage original color profile throughout the test. The Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra packs in a 200 megapixel main camera, but unlike the rest, it's not a 1-inch sensor. It also has two 12 megapixel sensors for the ultra-wide and selfie, a 10 megapixel telephoto camera, and a 50 megapixel periscope sensor. The Xiaomi 14 Ultra houses a quad 50 megapixel camera setup for the ultra-wide, main, telephoto, and periscope sensors, as well as a 32 megapixel selfie camera. We'll be using auto aperture and Leica authentic color modes the entire time. And lastly, the Vivo X100 Ultra makes use of two 50 megapixel cameras for the ultra-wide and main, a massive 200 megapixel periscope sensor, and a 50 megapixel selfie camera. We'll be sticking to the Zeiss natural color profile during the test. Will Huawei's latest flagship be the most pure? Will Samsung's latest update change the game? Can Xiaomi's insane quad setup endure, or will Vivo's massive periscope camera put the others to shame? This is TechNick, and without further ado, let's find out. What's up guys, this is TechNick recording a 4K 60fps selfie video on four ultra flagship camera smartphones. Which do you think is the best in terms of video and microphone performance? The Samsung has the most stable selfie video, but the rest aren't far off. The Huawei falls short in quality, while the Xiaomi and Vivo pack in the most detail. The Huawei lacks selfie portrait video, and the Samsung is the only one that offers it in 4K. The Samsung takes the lead here in terms of detail, balance, and softer background blur. The Huawei has the widest field of view when taking an ultra-wide selfie, but it's a tad washed out. The Vivo doesn't have an ultra-wide option, and the Samsung comes out with a tad more detail than the Xiaomi, though it is a bit underexposed and oversaturated. The Samsung takes another win when set to 1x, though it does have quite a narrow focal length. And while it looks great in portrait mode too, the Vivo offers the most accurate edge detection. Moving on to their back main cameras, the Huawei, Xiaomi, and Vivo produce the most natural depth of field due to their 1-inch sensors. The Huawei crops in quite a bit, the Samsung is very washed out, and the Xiaomi struggles with dynamic range, leaving the Vivo as the clear winner with incredible HDR, contrast, and tonal range. When set to portrait mode, the Samsung and Xiaomi look terrible. The Huawei looks better but still lacks detail in my face, and the Vivo looks even better than before with brighter colors, better white balance, and superb background blur. The Samsung and Xiaomi both have an extra telephoto camera for 5x optical zooms, but the Xiaomi comes out looking a lot better than the Samsung in portrait mode. But when switching to their 3x lenses, neither of them come close to the periscopes found on the Huawei and Vivo, and once again the Vivo takes the win thanks to impeccable edge detection. All of their zoom lenses offer fantastic minimum focusing distance, but the Huawei comes out on top due to insane detail. Taking a photo with their mains at their maximum megapixel count has me initially favoring the Xiaomi due to its impressive dynamic range and contrast, which is what most of you voted for when I recently posted this shot as a poll on my YouTube community page and other social platforms. But when looking more closely, the Vivo seems to offer the most natural balance and superior tonal range. And this is evident when cropping in by 400%. When cropped, we also notice the Vivo packs in the most detail, which is very strange when you realize that the Samsung is using a 200 megapixel camera. An interesting thing to point out is that it seems the Huawei suffers from chromatic aberration if you take a look at my necklace. Taking another native shot, but this time of an object, has me leaning toward the overall balance of the Vivo, with the Xiaomi once again not too far behind. But when cropping in, the Vivo once again shows its strength with ridiculous detail. It's worth pointing out that the Samsung shows fantastic detail at the bottom of the photo and blurs out the rest. The last high-resolution image I took was of a breathtaking landscape here in sunny Cape Town. The Huawei is a bit overexposed, the Samsung quite underexposed, the Xiaomi once again offers vibrant colors, but all of these colors seem to blend into each other, leaving the Vivo with yet another win. And once again, when cropped in, the Vivo stands above the rest in terms of detail, but the Samsung isn't far off. Getting back to bin shots using their mains. This pic was taken of a moving subject in order to test out shutter speed. And while they all managed to keep everything in focus, the Huawei and Vivo managed to keep things looking the most sharp. All of these devices offer macro capabilities, utilizing their ultra-wide sensors when getting close enough to an object. The Xiaomi is rather terrible, the Huawei is a tad better, the Vivo is packed with detail, but the Samsung is the clear winner. Taking a regular ultra-wide shot has the Huawei pull ahead thanks to minimum edge distortion, a wider field of view, detail from top to bottom, and it produces the most true-to-life image. Taking bin shots with their main cameras of the same scene has the Samsung oversaturate the greens and blues and the Xiaomi underexpose the foreground, leaving the Huawei and Vivo looking the most balanced. They all offer 2x lossless zoom using their mains, but I have to give this one to the Huawei. The Samsung and Xiaomi kick in their first telephoto sensors at a 3 and 3.2x zoom range respectively, with the Xiaomi coming out slightly ahead. The Vivo might sit at 3.7x optical zoom here, but the Huawei has a further range due to its own natural crop. And with that said, the Huawei gets another thumbs up from me. The Samsung and Xiaomi shift to their periscope cameras when zooming in by 5x, and once again the Xiaomi undercuts the Samsung here. The Huawei and Vivo use hybrid zoom at this range, but the Vivo is far too underexposed. Not only is the Huawei better than the Vivo here, but it also stands above the Xiaomi's optical zoom. They all once again offer lossless zoom with their periscopes at a 10x zoom range. And while the Huawei looks the best at first sight, it's easy to see that Huawei is smoothing the building here to make it look more polished, but in turn this affects detail. The Xiaomi gets my vote here thanks to overall balance and detail. When reaching 30x zoom, the Huawei starts to fringe its colors, the Samsung and Xiaomi start ghosting, and the Vivo retains almost all of its detail. The Vivo once again impressed me at a 50x zoom range, and it is the only one here that isn't affected by noise grain when zooming in all the way up to 100x. The Xiaomi is the only device that exceeds 100x zoom, capping out at a whopping 120x. That said, it suffers from even more grain. When it comes to video, the Vivo is the only device here that can record 4K 120fps video when using its periscope camera. It comes out extremely smooth and looks very cinematic. The Samsung might cap periscope video at 60fps, but it comes out looking the cleanest. However, only the Samsung and Xiaomi can record 8K video when using their periscopes, with the Xiaomi taking the lead in terms of detail. That said, the Xiaomi takes things a step further by also offering 8K video when using its 3.2x telephoto camera, though it doesn't look quite as good as its periscope. The Samsung's 4K video here comes out looking the best. The Samsung, Xiaomi and Vivo allow for 8K video when using their main sensors, but I find myself favoring the Samsung here. The Huawei may lack 8K video completely, but in my opinion, it looks even better than the Samsung. The Huawei also lacks 4K 120fps video when using its main, which all three other devices manage to pack in. The Samsung is very underexposed here, leaving the Xiaomi and Vivo producing equally as good video. It's strange that the Xiaomi offers 4K 120fps regular video, but lacks it when switching to slow motion, which is something that both the Samsung and Vivo can do. The Vivo just does it better in terms of exposure and clarity. The Xiaomi has the slowest slow motion option when dropping resolution, but the Huawei stands out the most here in terms of effect and detail. The Xiaomi is also the only device that offers 8K ultra-wide video, making it the only phone here with 8K video options across all four of its sensors. That said, the Vivo still comes out looking better in terms of color reproduction. The Samsung on the other hand is the only one that can shoot 4K 120fps ultra-wide video, though it's rather underexposed, leaving me once again favoring the video produced by the Vivo. They can all shoot continuous 4K 60fps video, allowing them to seamlessly switch from their ultra-wides all the way to their periscopes. But the Samsung has the smoothest transitions and can zoom in all the way up to 20x zoom, just like the Vivo, but the Samsung retains the most detail. They all offer video stabilization modes when using their ultra-wide cameras, but the Samsung and Vivo come out the most stable while speed walking. They are also the only ones that offer such modes at high resolutions, however the Vivo comes out a bit too oversaturated and overexposed. The Huawei lacks a stability mode when using its main camera, while the rest continue with the same modes. This time the Samsung is more stable than the Vivo, while continuing its realistic look. They can of course all record 4K 60fps regular video with standard stability, and they are all quite stable, But once again, the Samsung keeps things the most stable and produces the most natural colors. They are all just as stable when recording regular 4K 60fps ultra-wide video, but I have to give the win here to the Xiaomi due to its fantastic balance, accurate colors, dynamic range, and overall detail, though the Samsung isn't far off. I was surprised to see the Samsung take the lead in terms of focusing speed, which was closely followed by the Xiaomi, then the Huawei, leaving the Vivo as the slowest. The Samsung and Vivo are the only ones that offer main portrait video at a 4K resolution, though the Samsung is rather washed out. The Huawei is limited to Full HD, but in my opinion it looks the most well balanced, offers the best tonal range, and has the best natural depth. The Huawei continues to pack in detail when shooting periscope portrait video, but the Vivo looks absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, the Huawei switches to its main camera when shooting the same video at night, leaving the Vivo with another standout performance. The Samsung and Xiaomi continue to struggle with main portrait video at night. The Huawei proved to be a strong contender once again, even though it's limited to 1080p resolution, but the Vivo somehow managed to look just as good at night as it did during the day. The Xiaomi produces decent 8K ultra-wide video at night, but the 4K results from the Huawei and Vivo took me by surprise. The Huawei handled light noise the best, but the Vivo had the least amount of grain. The Huawei naturally looks the brightest here since it's shooting at 4K, while the rest can record 8K main video. In terms of 8K performance using their mains at night, I have to give it to the Vivo simply because it produced the smoothest video. The Xiaomi once again produced fantastic 8K telephoto video, but in terms of 4K performance when zoomed in at night, the Vivo takes the crown when it comes to exposure and detail, while the Huawei handled light noise the best. When it comes to 8K periscope video at night, I swear to you the Samsung's lens is not covered. Just take a look at the bottom of the screen and you'll see the ocean's waves. The Xiaomi's 8K video when using its periscope at night came out looking significantly better than that of the Samsung's. When shooting 4K main video at night, all four devices suffer from lens flare. The Huawei and Xiaomi handle light noise very well, and even though the Xiaomi offers a 4K night video mode when using its main camera, the Huawei still came out the smoothest and the most balanced. The Huawei might come out the brightest and handles light noise the best when shooting 4K ultra-wide video at night, but I have to give this one to the Xiaomi due to noticeably better contrast and minimal grain. However, the Vivo did impress me with its exposure and detail. The Vivo kept my attention when taking an ultra-wide photo at night, offering the most well-exposed image with the highest amount of detail. The Samsung and Xiaomi came out looking rather dull when using their mains to take a photo of the same scene at night, most likely due to lower contrast and slower shutter speeds, while the Huawei and Vivo produced rather dreamy pictures, with the Vivo coming out slightly ahead in terms of dynamic range and detail. The Vivo proved itself again when taking a 2x hybrid zoom photo using its main, and was rather well color matched when jumping up to its periscope sensor. I'm not quite sure what happened with the Xiaomi here. The Samsung's 5x optically zoomed periscope performed better than the Xiaomi at night, but the Vivo still produced the better image while only using hybrid zoom. The Vivo impressed me even more when utilizing its periscope for a 10x lossless zoom photo, but the Samsung wasn't too far off. But the differences started to become very noticeable when zooming in further at 30x. Somehow the Vivo still managed incredible detail at a 50x range, and I think it's safe to say that there is no better smartphone out there for long zoom range shots than the Vivo X100 Ultra. Ultra zooms at 100 times. The Xiaomi can of course go further at 120 times, but that doesn't mean that it should. Taking a more complicated night photo using their mains had the Samsung and Xiaomi once again suffer from contrast issues and auto ISO levels, leaving the Huawei with the most pleasing shot, but the Vivo with the most true to life image. I took this next shot to see how well they would all handle light noise, and I wasn't exactly impressed with any of them. If I had to choose one based on light noise handling, I'd most likely pick the Xiaomi. However, looking at this photo as a whole, the Huawei really stands out. It has the highest dynamic range, compensates exposures very well, and has a warm, detailed look. This photo was also put up as a poll and most of you voted for option A on YouTube, which is of course the Huawei. Option D was the winner on X, aka Twitter, and both tied on Instagram. Vivo's shot looks incredible, but there's just something about the Huawei here I can't put my finger on. Thank you to those who participated in the polls. This next shot had me stunned. Once again, by the Huawei. It just looks so warm and homey, though I have to say the Samsung produced the most realistic image. The Samsung continued a bit of a streak when using its main camera to take a snap of a human subject at night, with superb exposure, tonal range, and detail. But when switching over to portrait mode, the Samsung had a large depth of field and my face came out way too sharp, leaving the Vivo as the clear winner with fantastic foreground and background separation. Taking portraits with their telephotos had the Xiaomi revert to its main camera. The Samsung came out too sharp, the Huawei too soft, but not too far off the Vivo, which produced an almost perfect shot. The Huawei unfortunately switched to its main camera when portrait mode was disabled. The Vivo dropped the ball, the Samsung's ISO levels were very off, and while the Xiaomi was overexposed, it still managed to produce a very good photo. Using the Samsung's and Xiaomi's 5x optical zoom lenses to take a photo of me at night, had the Xiaomi come out ahead of the Samsung purely because the Samsung seriously messed up tonal range with a very strange yellow-green tint. But this was slightly cleaned up when enabling portrait mode. However, the Xiaomi nailed tonal range, even though it switched to its telephoto camera to take the shot. That said, neither of them came close to the Vivo. Taking ultra-wide selfies at night has the Samsung come out on top, and the same can be said when setting them all to 1x. It's worth noting that the Vivo smoothed out my skin even though beauty mode was disabled. The Vivo brought me back to life when enabling portrait mode, and it also came out looking the best in terms of edge detection. The Vivo was the only one here which didn't completely change my skin tone when enabling the flash, leaving it as the only real choice. And despite the Samsung having 4K selfie portrait video, the Xiaomi came out looking the best with the least amount of grain. I thought we'd end things off the same way we started, so this is what 4K selfie video looks like on all 4 devices at night. Let me know your thoughts on their video and audio quality in the comment section down below. So now it's time to get to the results based on my personal and professional opinion. And since our opinions may differ, be sure to let me know if you agree with my findings. The Huawei Pura 70 Ultra is the best of the lot when it comes to periscope minimum focusing distance and crispy clear super slow motion. It has a fantastic microphone and very fast shutter speeds. Its ultra wide and selfie cameras offer the widest field of view, its main camera is variable and retractable, and its periscope keeps things detailed close up. However, it's the most inconsistent device of the lot and typically decides when it will or won't perform its best, which is a real shame as it has the potential to be the best, especially when seeing some of its night photo capabilities. The Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra offers the best video stability across all of its sensors and packs in the fastest focusing main camera. It has a brilliant microphone, takes awesome macro photos, and its main 8K video capabilities are very good. It's no doubt the most popular smartphone here, but it's certainly not the best camera smartphone around. If Samsung continue to recycle their sensors year after year, they may lose some loyal customers. The Xiaomi 14 Ultra is the best in the business when it comes to 8K video, offering it across all 4 of its back sensors. It's also the most flexible as it utilizes all of its sensors very well. It has an incredible variable aperture main camera and superb supporting cameras, but it's held back by never quite knowing how well a photo or video will be produced until after it's done processing. Just like the Samsung, Xiaomi have also recycled 3 of its 4 main sensors, leaving it with plenty choices, but choices which are starting to get outdated. But out of all of these devices, the one which is sadly not available in the global market, the best, most ultra camera smartphone there is no doubt the Vivo X100 Ultra. Vivo have introduced a fleet of new sensors and are truly future-proofing their latest top-tier flagship with some of the best photos and videos I have ever seen produced from a pocket-sized camera. It excels in short and long-range zoom capabilities, even though it only has one zoom lens. It takes the most consistent photos and videos between each lens, and its main camera, while being identical to other 1-inch type sensors, lacks variable aperture, but still manages to take the best main photos when compared to any other device I have tested. It's just unfortunate that the best camera smartphone available isn't available to most. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed testing out some of the most ultra camera smartphones on the planet. Let me know your thoughts on these results, and be sure to check out the link below if you live in South Africa and would like to purchase any of these devices. This is TechNick, and I'll catch you in the next one.